In today's video, going out by request, I want to talk about disco music for mobile DJs. This is stuff for general audiences that seems to work well for me, and you may have different songs you use, and that's cool, but these are the ones that I'm using. When I'm at a wedding reception and somebody says, play some disco, you don't want to go real deep, you want to go relatively mainstream on this stuff, so that's what I'm going to talk about today. If you want to see a deep dive into disco, let me know. I'll try to do a video of that later on. Before we go any further, a couple things I do want to clarify. First of all, we are talking about disco music from an American point of view. So this has nothing to do directly with the mobile disco in the UK, and we're talking about music primarily between the mid-70s through about 1980. Disco is a genre of music. There's some songs that you hear that are unmistakably disco, but for mainstream audiences, it can be pop, it can be rock, it can be funk, soul, all kinds of things. The disco attitude way back in the 70s here anyway were long extended versions of songs. Sometimes they were 8 minutes long, 10 minutes long, 15 minutes long, or longer. I like to go with the radio edits because they're familiar to our audiences, and I think they're put together pretty well. So let's get into the first list. This is stuff that you can play and you really can't screw it up. You can put them in any order. Somebody asks for disco, throw one of these on and they'll love you. Bee Gees, Staying Alive. One of those songs that I do not consider a disco song, but our general audiences do, and they'll do the dance when you play it. Gloria Gaynor, I Will Survive. This one's strange because it's kind of a breakup woman empowerment song. Doesn't sound like something you play at a wedding, but for some reason, they love it. Lips Incorporated, Funky Town. Kool and the Gang, Celebration. Now you can also do things like Ladies Night, but Kool and the Gang Celebration seems to be the number one request. Casey and the Sunshine Band, Get Down Tonight. You could also do I'm Your Boogeyman or Boogie Shoes or That's the Way I Like It or Shake Your Booty, but Get Down Tonight seems to be the one that most know and like. Tramps, Disco Inferno. Please play the radio edit of this, otherwise it's like 10 minutes long. Sister Sledge, We Are Family. And I said family, not family, like it's requested, which is odd, isn't it? They just enunciate every single syllable in family, because that's how Sister Sledge sang it. But yeah, We Are Family. Chic, La Freak. There are a lot of great Chic songs, including Sister Sledge, because Chic actually produced that. But this is the one that people seem to respond the best to. Good Times and things like that, for some reason, for a general audience, they're not as into. We'll get into that a little later, but La Freak is definitely the go-to Chic song. Village People, YMCA, the ultimate audience participation song. Everyone knows it. Of course, you could do Macho Man in the Navy or whatever you want to do, but you really can't lose with a general audience by playing YMCA. ABBA, Dancing Queen. Of course, there are several ABBA songs you can play. This is the big one. Rolls Royce, Car Wash. They like to wash the cars while they're dancing to that one. Donna Summer, Last Dance. That's a big request for the last dance of the night. Earth, Wind & Fire, September. Now, even if you just play this song all by itself with nothing else around it that even resembles disco, you've got a full dance floor. It's a great tune. The hardest part about this song is what to follow it up with because it's so huge. And the one that I do really well with is The Emotions, Best of My Love, which you could classify as a disco funk track. If you're going to do that, there are a lot of songs that you can play after Emotions, Best of My Love to create a really cool disco funk vibe. Let's talk about those songs. Commodores, Brick House. Wild Cherry, Play That Funky Music. Rick James, Super Freak. Kool and the Gang, Jungle Boogie. Now those are great disco funk songs, but if you want to go a little deeper, if the audience is really digging it and they want more, try tracks like Brick, Daz. SOS Band, Take Your Time, Do It Right. Brothers Johnson, Stomp. Parliament, Give Up the Funk, Tear the Roof Off This Sucker. LTD, Every Time I Turn Around, Back in Love Again. And D-Train, You're the One for Me. That's probably the deepest track in my disco funk list. Now this last list is kind of a supplementary list for the first list. It's disco songs that you can play for that audience who's really into disco, but they're still general, if you know what I mean. It's still mainstream stuff, so you're not going to throw them in a left field with some weird telex track or something. KC and the Sunshine Band, Keep It Coming Love. This is a great song. I play it a lot if the audience is into the disco vibe. And that's the only song I've ever played as a mobile DJ where I played it 5 times in a row. Traveris, Heaven Must Be Missing an Angel. This turned up on the Charlie's Angels movie like 20 years ago, but it's a great song. Sylvester, You Make Me Feel Mighty Real. The thing about this track is it's not as mainstream in America as it is over in Europe or specifically the UK. It's huge in the UK. So if I have some people from that part of the world at my event, I can play that song and it's going to be a big hit. Amy Stewart, Knock on Wood. Leo Sayer, You Make Me Feel Like Dancing. Very much a pop song, but it works really well in that disco vibe. A Taste of Honey, Boogie Oogie Oogie. This is kind of that disco funk thing again, but you can mix it in with disco without going disco funk and it's going to be right at home. Chic, Everybody Dance. Probably my favorite Chic song. This one's really good. If they're into that disco vibe, give it a try. And last but not least, speaking of Chic, that one song that I never really had very good luck with was Good Times. For some reason, they just don't feel it. However, if I play Sugar Hill Gang Rapper's Delight, that heavily borrows, shall we say, steals is more like it, from Good Times, people go nuts. And this works for Gen Z and millennials and people in Gen X too. It's just a great tune. It's from 78 and it's a really cool way to segue into maybe some 80s hip hop. So there you go. There's a mainstream disco list for you. Again, a lot of these tracks aren't quintessentially disco, but they work within that whole disco feel and vibe. Fingers pointing up in the air. That's what our mainstream audiences are thinking about when they ask for it. Again, if you want me to go into a deep dive on some of the other disco stuff that I just like, and stuff that I play for the disco parties, let me know. I'll do another video. These are just kind of the easy ones for you, just a cheat sheet for some of you who are wondering what works well. These work well for me. If there are songs that I've missed and you're like, oh my god, I can't believe I didn't mention that song, this is not a complete list. This is just some of the stuff that works well for me. Let us know what your favorites are in the comment section. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Practice and enjoy.